Now you're firing on all cylinders, which really does remind me of your mother's Independence of the Boss, the most iconic freedom record ever. You know what I mean? Like the emancipation of Mimi, like good old Mariah. She got that whole thing from the Boss, because your mother stepped out and was like, okay, here I am. This is all, I'm running the show now. Growing up with a woman like that, and especially because I've read interviews where she talked about, you know, when she was recording that, she was in New York City, and she was alone with her children, and she would put you guys to bed and then go to the studio to record that album.
Yes. Yeah. You know, well, two-part question to what you just said. So the first is, what was it like being raised as my mom's child? You know, as a child, I saw this woman on a stage in a sparkly dress. Yes, I also saw my mom, but that vision of her on a stage in a sparkly dress, I didn't know quite what I was seeing until I've gotten older. And I've been able to articulate for myself that what I saw was a woman in her full glory who was not saying, look at me, but was saying, this is me. And who also was fully in her own agency, making her own choices about the life she wanted to live, the way she wanted to live, and not even in the system we live in now, where there's so much more freedom for Black women and women. She was living in a time when people easily said to your face, I can't put you here because you're Black. And that she grew up in that and seeing that. And even in the face of that, made so many choices about her own life and with her own agency that really rippled down to her children, not through only the love that she shared with us and the embrace with which she raised us, but also in the example that she set and I got to see firsthand in how she showed up for her life, was a businesswoman, handled her business, kept her eyes open to the world and the industry she was working in, and continued also, to love and raise her children. And so I then look at understand, and you know, I also liken it to so there was my mom. Then on TV, I was watching Wonder Woman, The Bionic Woman, Cagney and Lacey, Kate and Allie. I was the Charlie's Angels. I was watching, and although those women's faces did not look like mine, and nor did their hair or their rear ends, what they did do was show me that women could leap buildings, they could solve crimes, they could do all of these things. Carol Burnett could be funny and hilarious and also gorgeous. So I combined, you know, I look at where I am now, and I think it's not an accident. I was looking at examples of women who were breaking barriers and living their lives and going after what they wanted. And so I now look around at my life and who I have become more and more myself. And I think, that's what it takes, these kinds of examples to remind each of us the different choices of what's possible in our lives.